Summer is right around the corner, and whether you've booked your summer vacation or you're still looking for travel destinations, we have a treat for you. Chris Muther, a travel writer and columnist for the Boston Globe, joins us now. And Chris, in just a few days, the summer travel season unofficially begins, right? Memorial Day weekend. How busy do you think it's going to be to get on the roads, and how busy will it be at Logan?
Well, as Bananarama once told us, it's a cruel summer, so it's going to be busy this year. So AAA puts out their projections every year, and they did very recently, and they're expecting that it's going to be 42.3 million people out on the road this year, which is higher than last year, higher than, obviously, 2020. So it will be busy. And you think about it, it makes sense because gas prices are down over where they were last year. And then the funny thing with airfare is that even though ticket prices keep going up, so does demand. It's not scaring people off, which you'd think it might. So this weekend is going to be a little crazy.
As a travel writer, how do you make travel less stressful?
I have my doctor prescribe certain pills. No, I'm kidding. Planning. It's a lot of planning that goes into it. So, for instance, if I were traveling this weekend, thankfully I am off the road this weekend, but it's all a matter of timing. As you know, traffic is going to be terrible on Friday night, as it normally is, but, multiply by 10. Same thing at the airport. So the plan really should be to try to not drive on those peak hours. Basically, Friday will be really busy. Saturday will be busy. So if you can escape Thursday evening, if you can go Saturday during the day, same thing on your return trip. I wouldn't come back on Sunday afternoon. Obviously, I would do earlier. Or if you could do an extra night, then, try Monday, Tuesday in order to come home. Same with the airport. It's just, a matter of following that. And if you are falling under those peak times, then definitely for the airport, try to get there as early as possible and also try to be as patient as possible. I think that's the key, is being patient.
Not the weekend to rush. If you haven't booked anything on the Cape by now, it's probably going to become really expensive. But if somebody does last minute think, you know what, we're going to try and go to the Cape for this summer, how do you find something affordable?
The trick at this point is, if someone is looking, I would say just kind of book immediately, because the closer we get to those peak months of July and August, the more expensive things are going to be, obviously, and also there'll be less supply. So it's a whole supply-demand thing. So as quickly as possible, and if that's not the case, if you can't, then I would hold off to September. My favorite time to go to the Cape, actually, is September, because there's fewer crowds. The weather is still generally really beautiful. Early on, the water temperature isn't terrible. So, that's sort of my favorite trick. Otherwise, I would say just a lot of, otherwise you're just going to be spending more, and like patience, you kind of have to be ready to spend a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. If you don't have school-age children, those first 2 weeks of September at the Cape are glorious. If you're not a beach person, where else might you go within New England that you know of are great in the summertime?
One of my favorite things to do is go to small college towns during the summer, because they're generally super peaceful. All the usual amenities are there. A college town, you think of like Northampton, Amherst. That area is just beautiful. There's a lot of nature to see there. And also there's a really great dining scene in Northampton. The same with a place like Burlington, Vermont, or even Montpelier, Vermont, I think is a really great place to go. And the other thing is, we were talking about bargains earlier, is that those places are super inexpensive during the summer.
Right. And you also wrote a great piece about finding budget-friendly places to stay, and you focused in on Kennebunk, Maine. What are some of the spots there to talk about?
So I became obsessed with a place in Kennebunk. which is a Franciscan Lithuanian monastery, which, I've been going to Maine pretty much my entire life, had never heard of it before, and I just happened into it. It's 60 acres along the river, so you don't stay in the monastery, but there's a guest house on the property. Wow. And it's, I think, the best bargain in Maine because peak season, you can get a room for about $200 a night.
That sounds amazing and very peaceful to be in a monastery.
Super peaceful. And, across the street, the White Barn Inn, the rooms are $1,000 or more a night. So you're in a great location, peaceful, nature, everything.
Wow. How about for this summer, if you're kind of going to try to escape New England and travel somewhere nationally or internationally, is there a way to get a deal on airfare at this point?
For me, the way that I tend to shop for airfare is I don't look for those traditional Monday to Monday, Saturday to Saturday vacations. If you're willing or able to go somewhere and depart on a Tuesday or Wednesday, you're able to find a lower price that way. So that's usually how I do it. And again, with airfare, shopping ahead is good, but sometimes you get last-minute deals. So the other thing I would recommend is if you're not on a mailing list an email mailing list for an airline, to do it because, as you may know, there are sales that will just pop up. And sometimes those, if you're willing to be flexible, can be a great way to get a cheap airfare during the summer.
Yeah. And really spontaneous and fun. Christopher Muther, travel writer, columnist for the Boston Globe. Thanks so much for your time and have a great summer.
Thank you. You too.